for the people that have been in the Penny Boys server, they will have seen a trade setup on DJT, which is the Donald Trump company. I know that this is completely something different, but essentially what I was doing on DJT got us an incredibly good entry. And that was basically when we were trading somewhere very similar to where GameStop is trading here. Now, what I am thinking to myself and what I am personally going to allocate to is I want to see this get back below 17.7. So a lot of people have seen videos on Twitter and this and that. Oh, let's test 25. Oh, let's test 20. No, I want to get below $17.70. Why is that? Well, because a lot of people are going to have their stop losses trailed above these higher lows here. So that these are important points where there's going to be tons of stop losses below this. And no limit orders there, right? So what I want to see is GameStop get below 17.7. The moment it then closes a 4-hour candlestick back above 17.7, I'm really in that. And well, it's difficult to give a preset stop loss because ideally what you do, right, by the time you enter, it gets below 17.7, gets back above, right? You can basically put your stop loss below the low that is made below 17.7 and then trade it back up. So it's very difficult to give a preset stop loss on GameStop. So it's going to be really important if you want to follow along with this, that you can basically figure out that rule for yourself, basically to look what is the lowest point that we've gone to before we close this a 4-hour candlestick back above 17.7. That can be our stop loss. So again, with GameStop, I don't want to catch any falling knives. I need to see this bounce. This may very well go to zero. However, right, I'm just going to give you my honest opinion on GameStop, and I'll even draw out on the chart what I think is going to happen with this on the 4-hour. I think it's very likely that this thing indeed gets below 17.7, gets back above, and sees a massive rip back up that is ultimately going back to all-time highs. That is my thesis on GameStop. So that's very difficult for people to comprehend, right? Most people see GameStop and they're like seeing this at 25.8. And then I'm here saying that it's bullish, but that I want to see this get below 17.7. That is something that is very far out for most people. Like, what do you mean bullish? Doesn't it mean that price should just turn around and go up from here? No, that's actually not what it means. So it needs to get below 17.7, get back above, and then I'm very bullish on GameStop. Like truly and literally, I think, and I'm with it. I'm a technical trader, but I'm with it for the tech and I'm with it for the cause. And this looks like a very good setup to me, actually.
What would some targets be for that 1770?
Some very good targets would be, let's see. Well, ideally speaking, this just simply runs back to $50 and then to the all-time high. But let's be reasonable with a first target, and let's say let's see what is the high of this candle here. So 30.5 could be the first target, 30.5, and the second target. Look at 30.5. This is what I would say. If it gives an entry and if that runs to 30.5, you're going to be severely up. I'm personally going to take the absolute vast majority of my position in there and then let the rest of that position run higher. At that point, right, the rest of the position running way higher. And what I'm trying to say is I'm not going to sell. I'm not going to sell until the all-time high hits, but I am going to secure a good amount of that positions just so that trade is safe. So like, once again, if we enter and this thing runs to 30.5, that's going to be a significant gain. At that point, you can do whatever you want with that position, but I would say at that point, it's a free runner, essentially, that can go as high as it wants to. And a very good target is simply the previous all-time high, which, at least from what shows here on games, on TradingView, that would be 120.75. So 120, but that is like an ultimate runner, and that is just something that can sit around. So say, for example, right, you have your position and you take out 90% there at that first target, or 80 or 90%, just because it's GameStop, it's risky, you want to pay yourself. The remainder of that position, right, it can run as far as it wants to. Now, I personally am looking at the GameStop chart. in a very, very similar way than that Roaring Kitty actually looked at it on his stream. So that's also one of the things that I really appreciated. On Friday there, he seemed to like not really know what he's doing. And then he's actually going to a chart and he's marking out some levels, which at least the horizontal level that he marked out makes a ton of sense. I think literally what he did is he marked out the level. He said, look, it's coming back, it's testing that level, and it's bouncing back up. He was kind of memeing with technical analysis, etc., etc. But the man knows very damn well what he's doing. And yeah, that's my perspective. Like, even if we just zoom out here for GameStop, right? A lot of people are now completely attached to what everybody else is saying about GameStop. And I see a lot of people like giving negative comments about it or saying like, oh, this makes no sense, or oh, I hate this. Look, that is not really the perspective that is going to lead you to making money here. What I find interesting for GameStop is very simply that it is an incredibly bullish chart, right? If I'm looking at this on the log scale, this is my chart, previous resistance. We've gone all the way down to being a penny stock, and then that stuff absolutely bolted above and 220. Now, if I put this on a monthly time frame, right? This chart is by no means bearish. This has a massive breakout, has many, many months coming back into support, and now is bouncing. So what am I looking at? Very normally a higher low here and then continuing the uptrend. This is I would say this is not even a more risky play. This is just as risky as you want to make it. So if you YOLO on some options, that is not at all what we're talking about here with an equity trade. But I do think that the GameStop chart is looking very, very good and solid. One thing I will also add for GameStop, if you want, is like a level way down lower that if this thing would absolutely like break down, say that this completely breaks down, it hits stop loss, and then nukes significantly lower down, I'm looking at $5.60 as an entry point. So $5.60, move below, 4-hour candle close back above, and that can be an entry for GameStop, and then basically just playing it back to essentially targeting back to like $15-16, like to basically play this range on my chart. So $5.60 might become a very important level if we really nuke down. So you want to be prepared for that as well. That would be the next level to basically play from. So we have 17.7 main scenario. And if that all fails and it does drop lower, we'll look at 5.6 for GameStop as well. And probably get a very good risk reward play out of it somewhere in the future.
Yeah, speaking of the risk management for GameStop, for that 1770 play,
Yes.
what would like a decent allocation be for like a $500 account?
That's a very good question. Now, it depends on where your stop loss is going to be set, and that depends on how low this stock is going to go below 17.7 before getting back above. I'm just right. I'll just give you an example on how to calculate it, but it's not going to be accurate, so people will have to do it for themselves essentially. So say that again, it all depends on where even say we get below 17.7. Well, where is it going to close back above 17.7? We don't know yet, right? It could close at $18 back above, at $20 back above. It could close at 18.35 back above. So where we enter is still unknown. And where we put our stop loss is also still unknown. And those are the two factors that you actually need to know to position size. So you need to know, where is my entry? Where is my stop loss? And then basically you got to divide, then from there on, you basically need to position size. Now, for this as well, I think it makes sense to refer to the coaching section, which I allocate like a full hour into really like diving deep into how to do this. But for some plays, like last time, we can give a preset stop loss and we can give an idea on how much money you're using. Now, again, I don't know what the stop loss percentage is going to be, but it's basically just as well. I won't explain it here. I'll just keep it as simple as possible, and we can update this. So what we can do, Duck, is at the point that this actually sets up, and at the point that we actually and that you actually get your alert, and you're like, Jay, is it time to enter? And I say yes. At that point, we can still let people know how much money we are allocating from your $500 account, and then that also gives an idea, right? So that can be basically still to come. So that
No,
will
that's
be
a good point. And for those of you, who are listening and want to learn how to do all that, definitely
yeah,
check out Jay's coaching section. Like he said, he has a whole hour dedicated towards how to figure all that out.
risk management, position sizing, etc., etc. Yeah, absolutely.
But perfect. These updates were amazing. Is there anything else that you want to say on any of these? I think I got everything I need.
No, actually not. I think it's very important to keep our watch list to the point, to not really lose track. Maybe the last like bonus thing, right? Palantir is another one of these companies which we're simply waiting for, right? I know that we have a level there at 1725. We're very far away from that level, but it's just like Sim. So by the time we get to that level and below that level, then get back above, we will be there executing that. This is still very far away, but that doesn't mean that we forget about it. So we, by all means, we can keep all these previous plays and suggestions on our watch list. And I think Sim is going to be the first one to give us an entry, probably, is my guess. But no, that's about it. I really do appreciate you, Doug, for making this so simple for people to follow. You've really made it very, very clear in that Discord chat how to follow along, essentially.